Gojo's domain expansion in Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, Levi's final charge within Attack on Titan, and Denji's chainsaw roar within Chainsaw Man, all of these moments did not just break the internet, they actually broke the people who animated them. Studio MAPPA has become synonymous with some of the most jaw-dropping Sakuga moments in anime. But very few know about the labor that goes behind some of these viral anime clips. An animator who works for MAPPA had spent 72 hours straight in their office, with one animation director also publicly apologizing for ruining a masterpiece as they talk about the low quality of their work, which was rushed. There was also an animator who works for MAPPA who shared imagery of unaliving because they could not take it anymore. This video is about the abuse of passionate animators and how their love for anime is being weaponized by greedy corporate executives. Studio MAPPA's huge rise within the last few years has come at a cost that's been measured not in yen but in hospitalizations, mental breakdowns, and careers that have been destroyed. So let's dive into this currently ongoing scandal as we look at the abuse of Studio MAPPA animators. Back in 2011, Masao Murayama had a dream. After co-founding Madhouse and watching it slowly lose its soul to corporate interference, the 70-year-old industry veteran at the time decided to roll the dice one more time. He ended up becoming the founder of Studio MAPPA, which stands for the Maruyama Animation Produce Project Association. His intention with MAPPA was to create a different kind of studio. This wasn't just another type of animation company, this was Maruyama's final love letter to the medium that he had devoted his life to. Maruyama helped to bring us Death Note, Monster, and Paprika when he was at Madhouse, and he wanted to create a sanctuary where artists could focus on what had mattered the most, which was telling great stories via the medium of animation. A very early goal of Studio MAPPA was to produce Tsunao Kutabuchi's In This Corner of the World. It was a passion project that had been stuck in development hell for a while. The focus of MAPPA in its early days was quality over quantity. There was creative freedom over corporate mandates, artists were treated as artists and not assembly line workers. For those first few years of MAPPA, everything worked amazingly. MAPPA produced thoughtful, carefully crafted works that respected both the medium and the people who were making the anime. But honest intentions and dreams have a nasty habit of getting corrupted, especially when money gets involved. April 2016 was the month that MAPPA had died, though nobody knew about it. Masao Murayama stepped down as CEO, handing the reins over to Manabu Otsuka, a former Studio 4 Degrees executive with very different ideas about what success had looked like. The new CEO wanted to leave a major mark upon the industry, and he was willing to do this at any cost. Otsuka's philosophy was brutally simple. He wanted MAPPA to catch up to industry giants like Kyoto Animation and Ufotable, and they needed to do it fast. His logic behind achieving this was to increase productivity. He wanted animators to churn out more shows faster with the same resources that they have. The man literally said they needed to produce a lot and gain experience while maintaining a high level of quality, as if you could just magic more hours into the day or clone some of your best animators, and he was trying to have his cake and eat it by creating high quality pieces of work at insane levels of quantity. The change at MAPPA wasn't gradual, it was pretty much overnight. It was a hostile takeover of everything that MAPPA had represented. Otsuka as a CEO looked at studios that had spent decades building their reputations through careful craftsmanship and employee development, and he decided that he could speedrun the entire process just by churning out more anime. The new CEO was comparing MAPPA to KyoAni, a studio that was famous for treating its employees like actual human beings, offering salaries that were competitive instead of a pay-as-you-go system where MAPPA was paying animators per cut that they had produced, and KyoAni maintained reasonable production schedules, which MAPPA has come to be not known for. Otsuka wanted KyoAni's reputation without any of the ethics that they stand for. MAPPA gradually became recognized for a studio who had very little respect for the animators that make some of their most popular shows. The first cracks had started to appear when MAPPA had taken over Attack on Titan's final season. This wasn't a noble rescue mission. Wit Studio had dropped Attack on Titan because the production committee's demands were literally impossible to meet with their existing resources and the timeline that they wanted the final season to be released by. So what did MAPPA do? So they took the terms and conditions of the production committee and they made things even worse. Tadayuki Omine, the episode director who gave us some of Attack on Titan's most memorable moments, He had tweeted something that should have sent shockwaves throughout the anime industry. His tweet states, "I went home for the first time in 3 days." This animator, who was working on the final season of Attack on Titan, had spent 72 hours continuously working. This wasn't dedication, it was workplace abuse that was disguised as passion. Then came Mushio's bombshell, and this was a freelance animator who had worked on the Attack on Titan series. He didn't just quit MAPPA, he torched the bridge on the way out, stating that they are taking advantage of animators and making them work in factory-like conditions. This freelance animator speaks of staying up until sunrise fixing drawings instead of creating new cuts. There was no proper training for animators, and MAPPA at the time had 4 major anime productions running at the same time with the same overworked staff who were working on all of them. The freelance animator Mushio claimed that 80% of employees shared similar complaints at MAPPA. MAPPA didn't listen to any of these complaints, and there was no attempt to course correct what they were doing. They doubled down because those Attack on Titan episodes were generating massive buzz and revenue for the company. In October of 2023, the month that Studio MAPPA's House of Cards had started to collapse in spectacular fashion. So Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 was supposed to be their masterpiece. They were going to be adapting the Hidden Inventory arc, followed by the Shibuya Incident arc. These are 2 of the manga's most beloved storylines. Instead, everybody started to learn about the animator abuse that was occurring at the studio. It all started with whispers about animators being forced to sign NDAs if they were working on MAPPA projects. So not only were they taking advantage of the animators, they made them sign these statements which made it clear that they were not allowed to speak about the working conditions at the studio. So the episode director for Jujutsu Kaisen episode 14, Hokuto Sadamoto, had stated in a public statement that he is sorry that he couldn't finish all 250 cuts for the episode in 2 weeks. He adds, "I will live my life as the worst animator who has ruined a masterpiece," as he talks about his unfinished work within the Jujutsu Kaisen anime. The man was hospitalized shortly after this, but let me repeat, he was hospitalized from the stress of trying to animate 250 cuts within a span of 14 days. This is just insanely unrealistic expectations. Then you have Shunsuke Okuba, the director of episode 12, who shared an image that chilled everyone who had seen it. He shared an image of a character from a series called Shirobako. This anime is about animators making anime, and the character appears to have a noose around her neck. The character was an animator within the show, and the message was unmistakable. This image showed that the people working for MAPPA are literally considering unaliving themselves, or at that point where they don't want to be alive anymore. Kazuto Arai also revealed that staff had begged for a production delay for Jujutsu Kaisen, and these requests were denied by MAPPA. Episodes of Season 2 were being completed literally hours before they were set to air. Episode 14 of Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 went out with only 30% of the intended animation actually finished. Itsuki Tsuchigami, who directed episode 16 of season 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen, threw his own studio under the bus, as he states MAPPA did not pay them appropriately for the work that they had done. They were paid less than they would have if they worked on similar projects for another animation studio. So on top of the insanely unrealistic deadlines, the insane workplace stress, these animators are also not being properly compensated. None of them can share their complaints with MAPPA because they are not interested, so the only outlet that they have to vent is on social media. And then when episodes come out unfinished, you have several fans who actually comment on the animators' social media pages, criticizing them, sending death threats to them, not realizing that these individuals have made these episodes under insane time constraints. So yeah, because they had such little time to work on the episodes, that's why they are appearing unfinished or rushed. But some anime fans just don't grasp this concept. So yeah, while they are passionate and creating anime, they get no support from Studio MAPPA, and the work that they do produce is heavily criticized by moronic anime fans who leave stupid comments on their Twitter posts. Of course, some of these animators or directors had signed those NDAs, but they didn't care. The abuse was so bad that they were willing to destroy their own careers just to get the truth out there, and to burn those bridges with MAPPA, and to never work on another project with that studio again. So while the executives of Studio MAPPA were counting their profits from a lot of the blockbuster series, at the same time they were paying their animators poverty wages. Ippei Ichi, a veteran animator, exposed the Netflix collaborates as it was revealed that animators were getting paid 3,800 yen per cut of animation. So this is about $34 for every animation cut. For reference, the industry standard for what animators get paid is already criminally low, as it's usually 3,800 yen to 7,000 yen per cut of animation, so about $34 to $68. Some of the most experienced animators who are really at the top of their game recommend new animators to negotiate for 15,000 yen per cut minimum. MAPPA was paying the bottom tier rates for some of the most premium content in the industry. Now things get even worse because an anonymous animator reported that they were paid 250 yen, which is about $2 for an in-between animation work that they had done for MAPPA. This is $2 for skilled artistic labor that actually takes hours to complete. I mean, animators have been known to be exploited for years within Japan. The average salary for an animator is usually $1.83 per hour. And most of them, for doing 8 hours worth of work a day, get paid $14.64 for that day. I mean, on average, McDonald's workers in Japan get paid 6 times more than what animators do. I've seen some argue, well, this is just capitalism. Actually, this is exploitation in my book, pure and simple. MAPPA was generating millions from some of their hit series, especially with movies like Jujutsu Kaisen 0, which broke box office records. For them to not only properly pay the animators, but pay them bottom of the barrel poverty wages is absolutely disgusting. The CEOs and executives of MAPPA were profiting off of the passion of their animators, knowing that these animators would work for peanuts because they loved what they were doing. As for these animators, they just love the fact that they are contributing their own artwork to some of their most favorite anime. Studio MAPPA still continues to exploit their animators. The sad thing is that these human beings are being pushed to their absolute breaking point. Some of these animators have not slept in days, and you can see with the bags under their eyes in some of these clips here. Vincent Chansard, one of the most respected animators in the anime industry, didn't just quit MAPPA, he publicly declared that he would never work for them again. He states, "I don't want to support a company that ideologically doesn't care about working conditions." This is from an animator who worked on some of the most celebrated episodes in recent memory, but Chansard got out while others weren't so lucky. Dorian Cullen, who's a freelance animator, described his experience with working on MAPPA in comparison to full-time MAPPA animators. Dorian states, well, for a full-time MAPPA employee, it must be a nightmare. For them, it's 15 times harder than it is for a freelance animator. Remember that Shirobako image reference that I mentioned earlier that an animator had posted on their social media? Well, this is an anime about anime production, and the character that the MAPPA staff member Okubo had shared was Emma Yasuhara, a key animator who reached her breaking point in the series. The image shows her with a noose around her neck looking absolutely exhausted and defeated. The fact that an animation director shared that image to describe his own mental state should speak volumes about what MAPPA is doing to some of its employees. We have staff members being hospitalized, animation directors apologizing for rushing and ruining episodes. While some fans put the blame on the animators, nobody looks at who puts them in this impossible position. Animators were tweeting about wanting to die, while Studio MAPPA was profiting off of their suffering. So you might be wondering, why on earth hasn't this stopped? Why don't animators just collectively refuse to work under these conditions? Well, it's because the system used to create anime is designed to perpetuate this suffering. Production committees set impossible deadlines that are based upon marketing windows and merchandise releases. Animation studios usually sign contracts knowing that they cannot meet these unrealistic deadlines. Then they pass all of the pressure down to the animators, who have no choice but to comply or lose their careers. So a production committee is a group of companies who come together to sponsor that anime being created. Each of them put in money towards the budget of that anime, and with episodes usually costing around $250,000, you need millions in order to create 13 to 24 episodes of some of the most popular anime out there. So in a typical production committee, you'll have a company like Bandai who produces merchandise and games. You'll have the TV station like TV Tokyo or Fuji TV who are going to be airing the anime, or you may have a streaming platform like Netflix who's also going to be contributing millions. And then you have usually an animation studio that's agreed to animate the project. And if the anime is based off of a already serialized manga, then you have the publisher like Shueisha who is in the production committee too. So all of these companies contribute towards the production of the anime, and you may even have sponsors like McDonald's too contributing money. Each of these companies gets a percentage cut of the profits that the anime generates. I mean, what could really work is if these production committees decided to each take fewer profits, just so that the animators who make the work could be properly compensated. But honestly speaking, this will never happen. The anime industry runs on exploiting the passion of animators, and MAPPA has weaponized this passion. And it's unfortunate that MAPPA has come to be known as the worst exploitative studio of the modern era. Executives know that animators are going to work themselves to the point of death for the chance to bring some of these anime to life. They know that fans are going to be praising some viral Sakuga cuts without questioning the human cost of creating these cuts of animation. This exploitative anime industry machine is going to continue running as long as there are young animators who are willing to feed themselves into it. MAPPA's CEO openly admitted their strategy: work faster, produce more, capture market share at any cost. They are not hiding their exploitation, they are actually proud of it, and they see it as innovation, as disruption, and as smart business. More and more anime adaptations are being revealed to be done by Studio MAPPA, as everybody wonders how on earth are they going to be able to churn out all of these series at the same time. As I'm making this video, not much has changed. MAPPA is continuing to announce all new projects while their animators burn out in real time. Currently, they've got Jujutsu Kaisen, Chainsaw Man, Attack on Titan, One Punch Man, and so many other series that are being created at the same time. It's no wonder that their animators are totally exhausted. One good thing is that awareness is being spread across the anime fandom about the human cost of producing anime. Some of these animators have set up their own Patreon pages and they're being compensated by fans directly, but while this is one improvement, the industry does need to change. We need to extend deadlines for some of these anime productions. The system of the anime production committee needs to change. In general, animators need to be able to create these works in comfortable conditions with enough time to deliver proper products that they are proud of. No anime, no matter how incredible the story is, no matter how beautiful the art or how well animated it is worth destroying people in order to create it. We need to stop accepting this idea that great art can only be produced by sacrifice and at a severe human cost. If we don't get rid of these mental perceptions, then this cycle of creator abuse will continue. But yeah, we have reached the point of the video where I want to hand over the discussion to all of you. What are your thoughts about the insane practices of Studio MAPPA and how it treats its animators? If there's anything that I've forgotten to mention, then let me know by continuing the discussion in the comments. And lastly, thank you for making it to the end of this one, and I cannot wait to see you in my next video.
A massive thank you goes out to all of my amazing Patreon supporters for helping to make this video possible. If you also want to support the channel and see your name in the end of my videos, then check out my Patreon, which has loads of perks like early video access and so much more. Thank you for sticking around till the end of the video, and whatever you contribute will mean a lot to me.